Welcome to Fish North Georgia the Guide. Here's Sammy Benitez.
Hey guys, I'm Sammy Benitez with Fish North Georgia the Guide, and I want to tell you about another trip I took to Hickory Log Creek Reservoir. So just like many of you, I work a full-time job. I don't get to pick when I go fishing. I just have free time and I go out when I can. For that same reason is why I typically tend to fish the later half of the day. So this particular pattern that I found, I know works on the later half of the day from 5 to 9 p.m. more or less is when I'm catching these fish. So this particular day, water was still very clear. I'm fishing the backside of the reservoir. You're probably looking at 10-foot visibility more or less, and water temperatures were around 83 degrees. If you saw my last report on the reservoir, nothing's really changed. We are in summer pattern. Any lake you're fishing, if you find something that's working, it will most likely work all the way through September. Up until we start having those cooler nights and the water temperature starts changing, you're gonna see that whatever pattern you're on, you can most likely replicate up until then. So I took the drop shot just like my previous report. Same exact setup, kind of using this robo worm in a green pumpkin-ish color. This is Aaron's Magic, I believe it's called, and a 2/0 hook there. Fishing it weedless, the drop shot weight. Instead of fishing main lake points like I was successfully catching fish on my last report, I started venturing into some particularly longer creek channels and fishing the creek channel, not just anywhere, but specifically the creek channel, as well as if you have a graph, you'll see kind of it's shallow in the creek and there'll be a drop off at some point, and you will see that eventually there's going to be a cutoff on the grass line. So if you fish that grass line and the creek channel, you're going to have some success, I'm pretty confident, especially with a drop shot. I caught 3 bass in a row, 3 casts in a row on this same setup in a similar area to that. Also moving to secondary points with the drop shot and main lake points that focus on 10 to 15 foot of water, I was also catching fish. So the other pattern that I was on was open water, deep water in the main lake channels, 130 foot of water. There's these bass pushing up bait fish to the surface. So right when the sun hits a certain point, these fish kind of just start pushing bait fish up to the surface. So my last report, I speculated if I threw something smaller, like a crappie jig or something, that I could probably hook up with these fish as well. So I did just that. I didn't have any crappie jigs. What I did have was a Ned rig, a Ned head. And so I believe this is either a 1/16 or 1/10 ounce Ned head. And this little curly tail grub I just had, I think I got it at Cabela's or Walmart in the bargain bin or something. And but it imitates kind of natural colors, which is what I'm after because this water is very clear. I'm throwing it on 10-pound test fluoro leader. You can use something anywhere from 6 to 10 pound, I would say would work well. And it doesn't have to be fluoro, it can be mono. But this, I only had one of this particular grub. I probably caught 10-15 fish on it. It's pretty beat up, but it was working. Same technique, casting it into those blow-ups as soon as I saw them, letting it sink. And the bite wasn't super pronounced. You weren't really feeling the tick like you normally do. They were just kind of swallowing this tiny grub. I was just casting it out there and lifting my rod tip. And when you kind of feel this, it feels like a wet rag or something, a wet t-shirt, that's when you know that it's in a fish's mouth. So I kind of reel in the slack and just set the hook. Guaranteed fish catches with that setup. I will tell you I was throwing it on a medium rod, and if I had a light or ultra light setup, that would have done 2 things for me. One, I would be able to cast this a better distance because there's not enough bend in the rod tip to launch that little lure out there. And the other thing, it would have played the fish a little better when you hook up. So it'll keep them pinned and pegged when you're reeling in and fighting that fish. That's the importance of fishing with a correct rod setup. So I got it done with a medium. But if you have something a little lighter, that would also work well. So in closing, you know, we caught a good amount of fish on my last trip out there, 4th of July week, just prior to the holiday. What I'll tell you is anything you catch a fish on right now, I'll take note of of the water clarity, the water temperature, the conditions and the ambient conditions, the structure that's around there, the color of your lure, what type of lure. All of these things are important into locating a pattern. And like I mentioned, since we're in summertime, these fish are doing the same thing for a while. So if you can figure out what they're biting, fish don't typically bite by chance. So if you catch a fish that you feel is by accident, there's some variables in that catch that most likely will play into a pattern if you pay attention. So take note. Check out Fish North Georgia's The Guide playlist they've got here. They cover various lakes, and we're trying to cover all the lakes here in northern Georgia. So if you've got questions on a specific body of water, they most likely have some answers for you. I also have my own YouTube channel, Sammy Benitez. You can find me on YouTube doing a lot of fishing as well as other things in the area. So if you're curious and you want to see some more content, you can find me on YouTube. Just search my name. And that's all I've got for you. So good luck fishing out there. If you've got any questions, leave a comment down below. I'm watching, trying to answer questions. If you hook up with this fish and you have some success, leave a thumbs up. Let us know in the comments down below what's working for you. If you make any changes, and just get out there and go fishing. Have fun and enjoy the summer. Thanks for tuning in. Peace, guys.
Thanks for watching The Guide here at Fish North Georgia. Our mission is to build a community of anglers to give you the best and latest information to make your day on the water more successful. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, click the bell so you'll be notified of any future content. Make sure you check us out at fishnorthgeorgia.com, where we carry a large variety of bait manufacturers from here in the North Georgia area. So we appreciate you being part of our community, and we'll see you soon.